I talked about this last time on the channel, but the Aventon Aventure is actually our best-selling bike in the shop. But there is one bike that recently has been giving it some significant competition, getting a lot of sales, and a lot of people say that they actually like this bike more than the Aventon Aventure. Today we're going to talk about the Cyrusher Kommoda and what makes this such a great bike. Recently, I had an opportunity to stop by Cyrusher, a small e-bike company in Logan, Utah. Now, these guys told me that this Komoda is actually their top-selling model, and I can absolutely see why. We've had a lot of people come into the shop looking for fat tire e-bikes recently, and a lot of people have started picking this Komoda over the Aventon Aventure, and here's why. Now, on the surface, these bikes are pretty comparable. They both have 750 watt motors, and they both have 4-inch wide tires. Now, what makes the Komoda so different is how it feels when you ride it. Now, these tires, although they are 4 inches wide, are 20 inches on the Komoda and 26 on the Aventon Aventure. The Komoda also has a smaller frame, which makes it a lot easier to actually ride around. It's more nimble, and a lot of times women prefer this bike over the Aventon Aventure because it's less like trying to drive a tank or a large motorcycle, and you actually have a lot more control over this bike. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the Komoda has a 750 watt motor, just like the Aventon Aventure. Both of these bikes pack a lot of power, kind of behind those fat tires. Now, the Komoda's top speed is 26 miles an hour, just a little bit below the Aventon Aventure's top speed, which is 28 miles an hour. But in every other way, these bikes are pretty comparable in performance. Now, the Komoda does have full suspension, and this is one of the biggest selling points about this bike. On the Aventon Aventure, you're only getting that front suspension on the fork. With the Komoda, you're getting suspension in both the rear under the seat and also up front with that fork. It's a slight difference, and to be honest, that rear suspension is not the best rear suspension you can get, but it does add a little extra bit of comfort. The seat itself, too, is a little bit more cushiony than the Aventon Aventure seat. Now, as far as the actual tech goes on this bike, the Komoda has both a front light and a rear brake light. It doesn't have blinkers like the Aventure, but the actual functionality of the user interface and the display is basically the same as the Aventure. You've got your pedal assist and your throttle. Full disclosure, the brakes on this bike are good, but they're not great. I don't love these Zoom brakes as much as I love the Tektro brakes that you'd find on the Aventon Suite. Every once in a rare while, they have given us some issues to where we've had to bleed these brakes. But overall, the quality of this bike is phenomenal. We really haven't had too many issues with this bike at all. Cyrusher makes a really good quality product just like Aventon does. So I'll turn it over to you. Which bike do you like the look of better? If you've tried both, which one rides better for you? And if you haven't tried both, get your ass in here and try it out. I highly recommend trying out the Cyrusher Kommoda.